Bezos is so wealthy, he has dozens of people working full-time to undermine Trump. Oh, by the way, he bought the Washington Post for cash. That's why Alexa's laughing at you. Okay, I'm going to do this very, very quickly. Facial recognition. Facial recognition is the newest and biggest problem because people don't realize what photos report. They report where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. If you're wearing a certain type of shirt, if you're holding a certain object in your hand. Are you holding a Pepsi? They're going to sell you Pepsi. Are you holding a firearm? You own firearms. Are you holding a vote Trump sign? You're a Trump supporter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of this is analyzed. And a lot of the cameras have onboard analytics. By the way, sometimes photos are standalone. So what's his face here tried to declare bankruptcy. And he told the judge, bankruptcy court judge or referee or whatever, I have no money. And then he posed with stacks of $100 bills spelling out the word broke. So he had problems. So here's a couple of gangbanger idiots from Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Still from Brooklyn. They stole, how many people here, here's a question for the crowd. How many people knew that there's something called Balmain jeans that sell for $1,500 each? One person? Do you own a pair? Oh, now you, I can see you. I know who you are. I saw you raise your hand. This guy is buying it right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 12 rows back, couple of seats, and he's buying everybody drinks today. So anyway, these gangbangers pulled out guns, stole these $1,500 jeans. And then, of course, just to be considerate, they posed wearing the jeans with the gun stuck in their pants. Okay, so that's why. Here's a nice guy from Germany. You know, sometimes the photo pretty much tells you everything you need to know. This is what happens when the Joker got arrested, and so on and so on. But facial recognition is really a thing now. Every driver's license, biometric now in the U.S., every passport. And you know how Eric Schmidt said everybody should be able to change their name? You can't change your face. You can't change your face. Your cell phone number, your username, and your face are now effectively your digital social security numbers. The first thing I ask when I do an investigation is, give me a photo, give me their cell phone number. I own that person. I own that person. And it's because everybody contributes in such a way that their face, their cell phone, their browsing activity, their posts, everything, self-contributed and all linked together. I just want to put this up there. Even though I love my law enforcement colleagues, they're great, I work with them all the time, I do work for a lot of departments, some of them are knuckleheads. This guy was posing for a mugshot in Harris County, Texas, Texas is one of the places where I have an office. Believe me, you're not in Brooklyn anymore. And he was smiling for the photo. And they said, quit smiling. He says, I always smile for my photos. And he kept smiling. So the deputies started choking him to stop him from smiling, and they didn't realize that the camera was continuing to click. That's him after they choked him a little bit. Now, by the way, both of the deputies are charged and he's released, which is the correct outcome. But there's a reason for this. And they want to get the biometric identifiers. They want to get front face, right face, left face, three-quarter. And once you have about a dozen photos of somebody, you can identify all the rest of the photos in the universe, pretty much. Here's a great one. Russia, where internet browse you. So this was a thing that they did in Russia, matching public photos to VK. Here's the photo of the guy on the Moscow Metro, and they found his VK profile. Here's another guy on the Moscow Metro. I mean, it's Russia, so one of them had to have a bear, right? But anyway, so that's the guy, and so on and so forth. And it works real world. I mean, it's nailed Mossad members. Here's all the people who went and killed a Hamas guy in Dubai. Wearing a disguise doesn't work anymore. Wearing a disguise doesn't work anymore. Just a tiny bit of your face is enough. Photos can be enhanced, photos can be corrected. Google now has something called Google Brain, where they can correct. This is actual. From that to that, from that to that, so on and so forth. You wear a disguise. Well, let me tell you, if even those portions of your face are visible, good enough. They have something called a nose print now. Here's an actual upload to Facebook. Should I send this photo to Jen, Jillian, Lindsay, and Elena? Well, I guess you know them, don't you? Google Glass, tracking, more tracking, persistent tracking, just on a basis of facial recognition. This is, by the way, a 12-year-old video. Imagine what the technology is now. Items, landmarks, barcodes. I put this up in 2014 talking about ALPR, you know, for people's faces. This is a US military gadget designed so, and it's Wi-Fi or cellular connected, designed so if somebody's walking through a village, basically the troop can look at everybody in the village, and if it lights on somebody who's a wanted suspect or a known terrorist, they can grab just walking down the main street of the village looking at everybody. Well, they do this right now in China. That's what they're doing in China. They have facial recognition equipped glasses. They also have the largest biometric database in the world already. But this is a facial recognition equipped glasses that they use in all the train stations, all the major bus hubs, all the airports. This is from a real surveillance camera in China, and I'll let you watch this. Just watch this for a second. This is a BBC episode, by the way.
Well, let's see how long it takes you to find me. Thank you very much. Let's go.
Now, by the way, the cameras in China are just like here. They have onboard analytics. To save bandwidth, what they do is they analyze the photo. They return the photo to the mothership with the biometric identifiers already marked, which saves enormous computing power. Each camera is a computer.
我们可以追溯到说，出现每一张脸都可以对应说他的身份证，以及他所经过，比方说在过去1周，我们回溯他的行经路程，我们也做了像人和车的匹配。那同时在人上匹配，还包括亲属关系匹配。 然后是你经常接触人员之间匹配，就是当摄像机布到或者我们传感器布到一定密度的时候，其实我们会经常知道你跟谁经常在一起。
Well, here we are then. I've just got out of the car, close to the city centre, and for the purposes of this exercise, the plan is for me to start walking in the direction of the bus station. My image has already been flagged to the authorities as a suspect, and in theory, it should only be a matter of time. So already on this bridge, I can see 1, 2, 3 CCTV cameras. Of course, there's no point hiding from them. Just keep on walking.
可以呢，不一定非要从门里头通过，他就站在。哎，对，就是这里，就是这里。这个看过。
Uh-oh. Right behind me, you can see just over my left shoulder there. Hello, guys.
All right, you get the point. I mean, it probably helped that he was a honky, you know. Guaylo, if I think is in Chinese. Is that right? Do you speak Chinese? Guaylo, okay. Yeah, baby. All this information and multilingual too. Okay. So there are now smart glasses being made that look like actual glasses. There are cameras everywhere, and I mean everywhere. This is an old slide, but by 2008, there were 4.2 million community safety cameras in the Greater London area. Photos, everybody here I'm sure knows what EXIF tags are, but it's not just EXIF tags anymore. It's sensor fingerprints and 101 other things. This is from 2008. This is a guy who actually was put in prison in the UK as a pedophile. On the basis of one of those sensor fingerprints, they tracked it to him. Let me show you some stuff with cameras. This is the Obama inauguration in 2008, taken with something called a Gigapan camera. This was the old version. You could zoom in on any portion of the crowd from just one photo and get their face. Go to Google Gigapan and see. How many people are familiar with what they call the fan cam? Okay, NFL has something called the fan cam where you can watch at home and zoom in on any location. I tried that, and what I did was I went to the furthest possible location right there from this photo, and that's one photo. You can just go click, you got everybody's face in the whole studio. It's that good now. NFL camera's so good you can see the Coke in Bruno Mars' nose. All right, watch this. This is a cheap crap Panasonic, less than $1,000. Just watch this for a second. This is not a scam. I pulled this off of YouTube. This is a commercially available camera. You can go down the block to B&H or Adorama or wherever while you're here in New York City, and you can get this camera. Okay, here's another one. That's before and after. Here's another one. This one is crazy. Watch this. Don't take your eyes away. Yeah, huh? Okay. Canon has a 250 megapixel camera now. You can read the tail number on a plane, supposedly 10 miles away, 11 miles away. There's a camera that's out right now that I've seen the results of. It's called the Nikon Coolpix P1000, $900. It has a 24 to 3000 optical lens. 24 to 3000 optical lens, less than $1,000. This is the new reality. Right on the top of the Empire State Building, there's a camera that you can go on the net and play with. This is the zoomed in, and then you go further and further and further, and you can look in somebody's window in Queens. So, oh, there's the Coolpix 1000. Amazing, amazing stuff. Drones. When I'm working in Texas, I keep a drone in my trunk. If I go to a location where there's a barking dog or a big driveway, you know, that curves out of the way, I just take the drone out of the trunk, costs me $185, pop it right up, look right into the house. As long as the drone doesn't go over the guy's property, I'm good. That's the new reality. Butterfly drones, hobbyist drones, used for sporting events. That's infrared. Tiny one. Look at this. That's a quarter. This is called the Harvard RoboBee. The tail is the antenna. This is 10 years old already. I mean, imagine that. Cyborg beetle, so on. Some guy. You want cats, right? That's for real.
Hey guys, I'm Yaug.
This is very sad. I'll be honest, I laughed my ass off. But it's very sad, and I apologize for being an insensitive guy from Brooklyn. Now an insensitive guy from Texas, which goes without saying. And just to give you an idea of the penetration of drones, This is a guy who was being cheated on, and he had the drone follow his wife. And he caught her. Watch this. This is for real.
Hey guys, I'm Yaug, and recently I found out that my wife's been cheating on me. Yep, great, right? Yeah, I caught her meeting a guy only a few blocks from my home, and I got it on video. Here's the video. All right, so we're gonna pick this up right here. She leaves our home, and she's gonna end up walking all the way down here and around to the CVS parking lot up there. I'm gonna fast forward it, even though it's in fast motion. Otherwise, we'll just be here forever. It'll be a long, boring video. Right here, where she's walking this way, usually she walks this way to go to work over here. So when I first saw this, I knew something was up, and I started to get a little bit upset. And sure enough, she was going to meet this sucker. And here she is waiting at the intersection, waiting at the light for what it seems like forever. And here she is taking her hair out. She's got to make herself look pretty. Got to make yourself look pretty for the guy you're about to cheat on your husband with, right? Yep. Make sure your hair is all nice. She's brushing her hair. I don't even know what she's doing. She's making her hair. She's pulling her hair out, making sure it looks all nice for this sucker. Now she walks across the street, and this guy is hiding behind the CVS.
That's her at the
bottom. As soon as she gets
right
here,
there.
he's going to come out. So I'm assuming she's on the phone with him. That's the only thing I can assume. Because watch, here he comes. There he is. There's the guy that my wife is cheating on me with. My wife of 18 years. And watch, if you watch carefully, you're going to be able to see 18 years go right down the fucking drain. Watch. If you're not paying attention, you might miss it. Here it comes. There it goes. Boom. 18 years.
Okay, anyway, believe it or not, he got back together with her. No, there's a whole story about this poor guy on the internet. He's a better guy than I am. Well, I don't know, 18 years. No, I would have killed her. Anyway, so you have all of this. No, I wouldn't have. I'm a romantic guy. I would have taken her out to dinner and killed her. No. So all of these are things that are being integrated with cameras, and there's Google again, of course, DeepMind, the same thing that is enhancing photos. Now has a lip reading computer. This is old, 36 million faces a second. In fact, you can do the entire population of the United States a biometric search in 2 seconds flat, in 2 seconds. It's so good that it can even be used commercially. This is so this is an app for sad people on the App Store. If you want to increase your chances of getting a date, you can there's certain bars that have cameras that are partnering with this app. And the camera does facial recognition to determine how many males and how many females entered the place. And you can check and I want to go to Zella's. Okay, it's 90% full, 58% women, only 42% men. Hey, you got a shot. So this is an actual app on the App Store called Scene Tap. And I'm going to zip through this. This is all stuff, basically, you can do it from distance, emotion reading now, eye tracking. This is stuff that a lot of times now the chat, when you say when you chat with user help, it says, will you turn on your webcam? It's not only because they want your picture, which is creepy. It's because they want to detect what emotion you're displaying now. Even the U.S. government is using it now. They've got a machine at the Nogales crossing called Elvis, and if you already are properly identified, you have like a global pass card. Elvis will ask you some questions, and if Elvis decides you're telling the truth, you get in. If not, Elvis sends you for secondary screening. It's so good. You know how the terrorists you see on the news, they're either wearing the black masks or the keffiyeh, and they're doing the victory sign. Well, the university in Jordan can now do biometric identifiers of the victory sign and go, oh, that's the guy who shot up the other place. Anyway, by the way, they now have something butt identification. Butt identification, as I told you last time, this was rigorously tested by the Kardashian sisters. And no, I shouldn't go there. But anyway, this is actually the saddest thing. It's a chair that hugs you, and it knows who you are by your butt, so it knows how to interact with you. So there's even butt identification. Now here's the creepiest thing. This was developed to catch pedophiles. And after this, we're going to go into one other thing, and then Q&A, and I believe it or not, Bernie, wherever you are, believe it or not, I'm on schedule. The small children grabbed by pedophiles, it was always believed that there was a way to somehow get a reflected image of them in the cornea. And here is an actual test, Department of Psychology, University of York, et cetera, et cetera. Here is a corneal reflection, that's the actual guy. That reflection, actual guy. Watch this. Actual zoom in on a picture. Whoop, I don't know what I just did, but anyway, the point is you can't get a new face. I'm going to zip past a lot of this stuff because I want to, well, let me just, I'm not going to zip past this. I'm going to take about 2-3 minutes on this. Cell phones are the big game changer. You have your entire life, your entire personality, your location history, your current location in the cell phone. And people are shameless about gathering this information. All of this is from 2008, by the way. This entire section is from 2008. I put it up there. Not much has changed in terms of the danger to you, but when you're thinking about what Mr. Snowden really revealed, think about this. And all of this is from 2008. There's other trackers now, iPhone. We're going to talk about the iPhone in a second. Android, Windows, especially Windows 10, terrible. Anytime your identity is known or verified. I don't know how many of you people saw the Polar Fitness app a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, they found hundreds of people in the military who were using it. They were able to identify people who were at the NSA. They were able to identify people working at Guantanamo from their Polar apps. Tracking in cars, getting people to sign releases to track things like acceleration, location. And by the way, it amazes me how little people value their privacy and confidentiality of information. Mitsubishi is paying for this with free cups of coffee when you go to a Mitsubishi dealership. But how many people remember the test at Cambridge University where people gave up their email passwords for a candy bar? Anybody remember that? A couple of people. All right. Let's talk about, oh, it's out of order, rats. All right, we're going to zip through some of this. Again, it's all about money. It's all about pigeonholing people. These are old. I wanted to spend more time on this, but let's talk about apps, for example. 45% of all apps report location. More than half of apps' terms of service authorize access to camera and or address book and or microphone, remembered Wi-Fi. There's the famous flashlight app. All it did was it made your phone glow brightly. So you could use it as a flashlight, and it gave access to your microphone, to your address book, and to your location. That's how it made its money. Okay, I have to finish this in 8 minutes to do Q&A. Okay, here's the flashlight app, location, camera, phone calls, and so on. Let me zip to some, Uber. Uber's the devil. Uber tracks every single vehicle, but let me tell you something else Uber does. It tracks you for 30 minutes after you get out of the car. And on top of that, On top of that, it now is using artificial intelligence algorithms to determine not just from congestion pricing, but how much you're willing to pay. It determines if you're drunk and you really need a ride, and that's in here somewhere. Come on. All right, we're going to pass this stuff. Basically, just take my word for it. Your cell phone is giving up your location and activity in a shameless way. And by the way, I mean, everything from if you tweet from your cell phone to if you post on Facebook, if it grabs your location data, if it grabs your camera fingerprint, any of that stuff, there are companies that it's called LAAS, Location as a Service. And they grab your cell phone, they grab where your IP addresses are located, everything that you do, and amalgamates it all together. By the way, I mean, anybody can do this. I've done it. Here's a ping that I did in a case. I did this. Located a cell phone, no problem. iPhone and Apple. Again, Mr. Snowden really didn't reveal much, and we're going to talk about Snowden in a second when we get to my goodbye. But everything that you do on a cell phone tells me something about you and gives more information, each interaction. Are you buying a cup of coffee somewhere? Are you getting mobile coupons? Are you comparing products? Are you banking online? Are you getting a repair? Are you renting an apartment? All of these things related to apps. This is a warning that I put up in 2012. I mean, it's all about ads and marketing. Let me tell you a couple of things about your iPhone. First of all, every time that you use Siri, I would hope that you know that your interaction with this supposed female is processed at the mothership. It goes to Apple, and they save all of your communications with Siri, and it goes towards your profile. That's a fact. Again, users' precise locations, that shares it. And they know so much about you that they index on the new iOS your current location plus your work, your home, getting in the car, it knows your car, getting out of the car. All of these things, cell phone is a loyalty device, payment device, barcode reader, all of this tells more and more about you. But let's talk about the sinister, sneaky stuff that they did with the new iPhones since early 2017. There is, in your iPhone, first of all, you have a hardwired battery. You cannot remove the battery. That's the only reliable way to turn off a cell phone. Most people, 86% of all people, never turn off their cell phone ever. Approximately the same percentage of people have their cell phone within 10 feet of them at all times. They go into the bathroom, cell phone's there. Take a shower, cell phone's there. Go to bed, it's on the nighttime table. Wherever your cell phone is and whatever your cell phone is doing, you're doing. So let's talk about hardwired battery, removed earphone jack, and auto-on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Here is, a couple of days ago, I took a screenshot of it, from the Apple website. This is the tech specs of the iPhone X. Tracks your location with GPS, GLONASS, which is the Russian satellite system, equivalent to GPS, Galileo, which is Europe, and by the way, which is much, much better than GPS. I mean, Galileo can pretty much tell where you're sitting in a restaurant, pretty much. And QZSS, which I forget where that system is. Plus it uses a digital compass. Plus it uses your proximity to Wi-Fi nodes through signal strength, and it knows where the Wi-Fi node is. If you don't believe that every single Wi-Fi node is mapped, go to something called wiggle.net. And iBeacon microlocation, and there's millions of these iBeacons being activated, plus cellular, which tells me distance from a cell tower. Now, here is, from the Apple website, the ports on an iPhone. What's missing? The headphone jack. Why do they no longer have a headphone jack? I mean, wired earphones are a good thing. Who wants to spend hundreds of dollars for Bluetooth earphones, which always crap out anyway, and you're stuck in your ears and whatever? Why is there no earphone jack? Well, and by the way, they tell you, oh, this is for your benefit. No, it's always for your benefit. No more tangled cords, finally untangled. AirPods. Well, I'll tell you why. Because Bluetooth reports location. Bluetooth aids in location accuracy, and so does Wi-Fi. So they took care of the Bluetooth problem by forcing you to have the Bluetooth on all the time if you're going to use the phone. Unless you're going to hold it to your ear, which the cool kids don't do. They want headphones. So now you have to have your Bluetooth on all the time. Wi-Fi, if you turn off your Wi-Fi now in the new iOS, it turns it on again. Bluetooth also, by the way, it turns it on again automatically. You turn off Wi-Fi, it's back on again tomorrow morning. It automatically turns it on, unless you go into the settings app and turn it off. So they've hardwired the battery, so you can't remove the battery. They've made it pretty much mandatory that you leave the Bluetooth on, and they turn it on anyway, and they automatically turn on the Wi-Fi. This is all for tracking and data gathering. All for tracking and data gathering. Now, by the way, if you think Apple's wonderful, they just turned over all the encryption keys to the Chinese national phone company for iPhone users that are in China. If you think that's a good idea, you haven't been paying attention to China. I love that. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about, this or IoT. All right, I have 5 minutes left before Q&A. So let me do this quickly. Let me just say that if you believe that you can anonymously surf the internet or use any digital device anonymously, you are substantially wrong. Everything from the language that you use can be used to fingerprint you, the device that you use, the browser that you use. Your machine has a fingerprint. And there are companies that make their money from fingerprinting data. This is the famous example. Somebody took anonymous browsing data for somebody who used, among other search terms, 60-year-old single man, landscapers in Lyburn, Georgia, Shadow Lake subdivision, Arnold, and dog that urinates on everything. And some reporters said, well, let's see if this is really anonymous data. So they went to the Shadow Lake subdivision in Lyburn, Georgia, found a woman named Arnold, who's approximately 60 years old, who in fact has a dog that urinates on everything. You are what you Google. You're not anonymous. Show of hands, how many people have Googled their own name? Everybody in the room, put your hands down. How many of you have Googled your own address? Okay, I'm not allowed to ask that question. How many of you Googled your own social security number? There's some hands up. Yeah, I'm doing it right now, okay. Remote physical device fingerprinting. This is a thing. Your cell phone is fingerprinted. Your laptop is fingerprinted. Your iPad is fingerprinted. Go to Panopticlick. This is a great website. It'll look at your browser and it'll tell you all the absolutely unique things on it, which include cookies, browsing history, download history, embedded graphics, micro pages, and it's also what fonts you have installed, what plugins you have installed. People's computers are pretty much unique now. I'm going to zip through this and, okay, yeah. Everybody knows about that. Let's talk about the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things basically means that today everything is connected. Sometimes not just connected, but a smart device. Whether it's your thermostat, whether it's your light bulbs, whether it's your refrigerator, whether it's your stove. I mean, there's Ethernet connected stoves. I don't know why. I guess so you can start your, you can preheat your stove while you're still on the highway. Smart watches, smart cars, health monitoring, especially these smart devices. There's now 500 million of these out now, not counting Siri-enabled devices, which is another 400 million. Alexa, Google Home, Google Dot. And here's an example of what's out there. Wi-Fi connected milk jugs that tells you when the milk's spoiled. I can just hear my grandmother, what, you couldn't smell the milk yourself? You know, but it's true, it's ridiculous. Why there's a smart milk jug, I don't know. Smart ovens, smart smoke detectors, smart thermostats, and all of these, by the way, tell you something. You open the refrigerator, you look in there, yeah, nothing to eat. 5 minutes later, yeah, still nothing to eat. But it tells you you're in front of the refrigerator looking for food. Bing, 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 Chinese delivery service coupon pops up on your phone. But that's the purpose. Tells you if you're in the room. It tells who's in the room by the temperature you set it for. Okay, this is the saddest one of all. This is a diaper that tweets you if your baby needs to be changed. I mean, this is like the worst parent in the world. Hey, come on, change it, bing, 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 change your baby already. This is the Huggies diaper that tweets you when it needs to be changed. Fluxometer that reports people using your electricity. Oh, isn't this cute? This is baby's first wiretap. This is an interactive Barbie, and it works the same way Siri and Alexa and all of that work. Oh, Barbie, I love you. I love you too, Gladys, or whatever you named your daughter. Hopefully not Gladys. And Roxanne. Zelda, I love you too, Zelda. And it's going back to the mothership and talking back and forth. It's sort of like Chucky. Anyway, but this is basically a wiretap in your kid's hands. And people were sharing their sexual activity, and I guess people were sharing their physical activity, and I guess Fitbit figured when they were having sex. So this was the public thing. So moderate effort, general moderate effort. Here's the guy for you. Active, vigorous effort, passive, light effort, kissing and hugging. I don't know how, but this until they fixed that this was a real thing. Network trash cans, for those of you who are investigators who have to do trash runs, steal the guy's trash. This'll tell you when the trash can is full. Oh, here's the chair that hugs you. Okay. Speaking to a room full of hackers, I can't even imagine the fun you would have in hacking that. I don't know what you would do. I don't want to know, but why do you need a Wi-Fi rectal thermometer? Who are you sharing this with? This is actually an app-controlled vibrator, never mind. Okay, this. I'm not making this up. This is a smart mattress that reports to you if it's being used while you're not there, in case somebody's cheating. Mattress is being used. Smart mattress will warn you. These are screenshots I took from a commercial. It has by the way, it has a speedometer. Intensity and impact per minute. Your partner isn't faithful, at least your mattress is. Okay, this I kind of get. Facebook wants to be your internet of okay. Why Wi-Fi light bulbs? Small reason, because if you have a smart home, you want to be able to say, Alexa, turn on the light. And it Wi-Fi's the light, and the light goes on. But the real reason, since about half of these light bulbs are now being made with microphones, is because you may not have a thermostat in every room. You may not have a refrigerator in every room. I hope you don't have a rectal thermometer in every room. But you definitely have a light bulb in every room. That's why. By the way, really good book. I read the published version, Abusing the Internet of Things. Fun for all generations. How many people here have used Shodan? Amazing. So much fun. So much fun. The problem with these IoT devices, especially the cameras, is nobody changes the default passwords. It's all like admin, or admin 12345 or whatever. You can look up what it is for every device. So unfortunately, here's a picture of some kid asleep. Here's somebody waiting in a doctor's office, taking a baby to the crib. By the way, all their faces were shown. I put those squares up. And so on and so forth. Smart TVs. Just so you know, Amazon said it's sold tens of millions of Alexa. Google Assistant is now available on 400 million devices. Siri is on potentially every iOS device. Now, I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. I'm very fond of this group, enormously. I've been coming to these conferences for about a quarter of a century. I've got a lot of very close personal friends. And I was kidding around before. I'm going to be very serious. Hope used to be a big tent. It used to invite people like me, invite people completely unlike me. There was room for everybody in Hope. And I want to tell you that's clearly no longer the case. It's not just the political outlook of Hope, in my opinion. This is my opinion. It's not just the political outlook, it's what I consider to be a lack of intellectual honesty. When Snowden was brought to Hope via video hookup, I mean, he was treated reverentially. Nobody was permitted to ask him the tough questions. Nobody, including me. I would have gotten up and asked questions. Didn't happen. They had a very, very decent guy who basically provided cover for him, Professor Ellsberg. And nobody asked Snowden, okay, great, you revealed all of this about Americans being spied on illegally. And by the way, it wasn't illegal, it was wrong, but it was legal at the time. Never mind. Didn't talk about him releasing what we're doing with North Korea, which he did. It's going to be up on the screen. Didn't talk about him talking about other legitimate, essential things that he revealed. For example, our techniques against narcotics traffickers. There's a lot of things that Snowden did are bad and wrong, and okay, what was that? And frankly irresponsible. He took 40 terabytes of data, gave it to a bunch of people without even looking at it, without even screening it, without even determining if release was harmful, assuming he's a good guy, which by the way I don't remotely assume. When Chelsea Manning was invited here, same thing. It was like a chat in somebody's living room. Let me tell you what I know about the Chelsea Manning case from review of the actual case files, which I had the courtesy to do before I came here. First of all, Chelsea Manning was, and I want to preface this by saying, I wish Chelsea Manning the most wonderful, prosperous life, happy life. I hope that she has found herself through this gender correction. I hope she's deliriously happy. I really do. She served her time in jail. She was pardoned, but here's the truth. She was not a whistleblower. She was not an information warrior. She was somebody who was, hey, listen before you boo. Listen before you boo. and then tell me why I'm an idiot. But just listen. This is somebody who attempted suicide, or threatened suicide rather, while she was in the Army. Her sergeant took the bolt out of her gun, out of her M16, because they believed that she was a danger to herself. There was a fight with with another soldier, a female, where they came in and found the female had pinned her down. Here's the problem. The problem is, I think that people reflexively say, you know what? Hackers grab information that's not theirs. Hackers get in trouble and get arrested. Hackers release information. Chelsea Manning grabbed information, got arrested, got in trouble. Ergo, she's a hacker. That's not how it works. Intent, information. First of all, let me say that regardless of what Chelsea Manning said today, she told the truth when she pled guilty. She said, declassifying this information was above my pay grade. I did something wrong and I'm sorry. That's the court record. If you're hearing a new story today, who knows which story is true. But I'll tell you that on one occasion, Chelsea Manning took a substantial amount of data and sent it off, if the reports are true, 4 to 5 hours later. Nobody can read 50,000 documents in 4 or 5 hours. Nobody can do that. You don't take information that's classified and just decide you're going to send it off. You don't do that. You don't endanger agents, you don't endanger troops, you don't endanger other people. This is not a hacker. This is not a hacker. By that line of thinking, a guy who breaks into a house, well, a locksmith goes into a house without a key, a burglar goes into a house without a key. Therefore, the burglar is a locksmith. That's not how it works. You have to look at the totality of the situation. That's my feeling. I think that Ms. Manning should have been allowed to speak in an environment where there was critical analysis. I was speaking to somebody very, very active in the Hope Conference who said, they took the bolt out of the gun, there were emotional problems. I never heard any of that. That should have been discussed before Ms. Manning. You should have had a picture of who Ms. Manning was, the totality, but especially who this person was at the time that she took, 5 minutes, at the time that she took the information. That's not what hackers do. Hackers look at the situation with intellectual honesty, and I don't believe that happened with Snowden. I don't believe that happened with Manning, and I'll add something about Assange. Assange was the darling of Hope until Assange released the information that helped cause Hillary Clinton to lose. Now let me tell you, of all the 3 people that I mentioned, Snowden, Manning, and Assange, who's probably a creep, was the closest to what you and I would consider a real hacker. This is somebody who took information and released it. Information that helped people make informed decisions, gave them the background information on what the Democratic Party was doing that they would have never gotten any other way. Found out about how Bernie was being submarined. Found out about the deals that were made, the questions being slipped to Hillary Clinton before debates. That I can get behind. Let me know who I'm voting for. Not release information that puts agents and troops and Americans at danger. Now let me tell you something. Here's an actual tweet by somebody very high up in this association. Let's do what they're doing in London. Let's put up the Trump blimp. Here's another one. Seriously, G7 countries, make it the G6. History will judge you kindly. Destroy him, him is Trump in this contest. Destroy him from the outside, we will destroy him from the inside. I'm sorry. I have a problem with this. 2 minutes. Okay. Finally, since I have 2 minutes, I want to tell you something. It is no secret that I'm a Jewish person, that I'm a supporter of Israel. I think that Jewish people right now are in big trouble. They're in danger in a lot of places. They're being attacked in the streets in Europe. They're being demonized if they support Israel in America. And there's a movement in the hacker community, and I didn't put it up because I'm a nice guy. There's a bunch of other stuff that I wanted to put up. By the way, here's Snowden releasing the North Korea information, which nobody talks about. I cannot continue to be the Jewish and the conservative, let's say, human shield for this type of conduct. Can I get 1 or 2 questions? Because there's, okay, let me get 1 or 2 questions, because there's obviously some people who are angry at what I'm saying, and take your best shot.
Oh.
And I can't even see, but go ahead. Please, go ahead.
Okay.
And I'm sorry I rushed this. I wanted to say it in a much more coherent way. So maybe you'll ask a question that allows me to say something.
I did have a question.
Okay.
I don't share your politics, but I respect you, and I'm going to miss your presentations here.
First of all, thank you very much. That means a lot. No fooling. And second of all, I think it's fair to say I have never injected my politics in anything I've done with Hope or with any member of 2600, but I wanted to explain why I felt compelled to do this. I have never discussed politics with you know, this kind of focus. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sure. I'll try to make this brief. My cousin sent his saliva off to Ancestry DNA to get the automatically generated family tree from public records and all. And long story short, I got an email recently from a woman in the UK. One thing led to another. She took the test, and now she found out from her mother that she had a one-night stand with my father back in the 50s, and she's apparently my half-sister. Right. Anyway, my question is more was about the risks of under Rambam's first law of putting our DNA into.
Okay, let me tell you 2 things about DNA. DNA is being used in ways you can't imagine. People are making full facial pictures just from DNA. People are using DNA. For example, there's a roommate mating service now in the United Kingdom where people are doing analysis of the personal characteristics of people through DNA and deciding are they good people or they're bad people. DNA is being misused just like everything else. And DNA is developing and developing and developing. There's more and more being done with it because it's kind of a magic bullet in a lot of ways. You don't know where DNA is going to be in 20 years and how it may prejudice things against you. I urge you to never casually give away your DNA. I think Ancestry should be closed down. I really do. Thank you. Let me just take 1 or 2 more.
Out of town. What's that?
1 or 2 more, please.
1 more minute. It has to be a real fast question and a fast
Okay.
answer.
Or he'll come with the hook. Next question.
Hello, Mr. Rambam. I've been.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you outside.
I'm sorry?
The microphone. Yeah, I don't have the mic. The wire. And the trace. Oh, that guy. He admitted to murder. It was great.